Hi, we're back here from AmericanElgin.com, and today we're going to be talking about three very iconic watches which are part of the Lord Elgin 30 jewel lineup of automatic self-winding watches, which were created designed and made in the United States and built at Elgin's famous old main plant in Elgin, Illinois, which operated from around 1866 to 1964. And these particular watches were made from about 1959 and 1963, so for a very short time period. These were, along with the related 27 jewel Elgin brand. So Lord Elgin was sort of the elite men's brand for the Elgin National Watch Company. There was a related Lady Elgin brand, but they didn't have 27 or 30 jewel watches for that. So this 30 jewel line was part of Lord Elgin line of watches for men. And when we say jewel, what we mean is working jewels. So this watch, if you were to open it up and take it apart, you would see that it has there's the watch movement has all the gears and so on. On the inside, if we were to take this case back off, and you will see it would say on it 30 jewels. And the jewels are synthetic sapphires. They operate under a similar principle as ball bearings. They're anti-friction devices which make the watch more precise and also prevent wear, so prevent metal parts from wearing down when they grind against each other. These watches were considered to be chronometer quality. So that is the exact phrase, chronometer quality, used on the RANFT database, RANFTT, and that is the world's leading and largest database of watch movements, created by the famous Dr. Roland Ranft, a German watch expert who was a big fan of these watches. He actually apparently had one in his own collection. And these were the only American designed and made lines of automatic watches. So Elgin this was the second generation of Elgin automatics. Elgin was the only company in the United States that ever designed and made its own automatic watch movements. At least that's widely considered to be the case by watch experts and scholars. In the early 50s, Elgin made a line of so-called bumper automatic watches. And those had a kind of a different technology than this, a bit simpler. This was a more advanced technology that came out in 1959. This is the second generation of Elgin watches. It had this high jewel count to make these watches very, very precise and efficient and run very well. And these are full rotor automatics, meaning that there's a rotor, or you could think of it as a pendulum, or kind of a half circle shape, kind of a half moon shape here, and it spins around a central pivot point to wind the watch when you wear it or walk around. So you do not need to, and you should not wind the watch using this crown here on the right-hand side. So these are the three models, or at least the three models that are known to us of this submodel A line. So this is the Lord Elgin thin line Model A. So these were the introductory watches, if you want to call it that, to this line. The case is all stainless steel, and they were priced at $59.50 in around 1960, which was quite a lot of money. So in 1960, the average American worker made $50 a week. So $59.50 was more than a week's wages pre-tax for the average American worker. And these were, at that price, they were the least expensive of the Lord Elgin 30 jewel automatics. Nonetheless, they are still extremely cool, and the cases are very high quality. This particular case, along with the other two here, these are all case reference number 9815, and you can see the little, if we turn it over, see the little star logo here. See the little star, it says stainless steel, and to the left of it is a star, and that refers to Star Watch Case Company out of Michigan, which made these three cases, all case reference number 9815. And Star Watch Case Company also made watch cases for Omega and other companies. Back then, there were companies that made watch cases that were designed for watch companies, and the watch company would buy that case and put the movement here, the 30 jewel movement in there, and the dial. And so that was like normal around this time period. And Star made some very high quality cases for this 30 jewel line, and also the related 27 jewel line. Now we have 3 examples here. Probably the most interesting is this first one. So we'll look at this. This has a black dial, and this is advertising for the dial. You can see the sort of the V and the X shaped, not quite V, but almost like a V, kind of arrow, a little bit like an arrow shape at the top if we look at what it really looked like. And then X, and we'll scroll down, we'll see the actual watch. So this is that watch. It has this very interesting set of stainless steel markers with a black dial with whitish silver writing, of course, American made at the bottom of the dial. And this variation is quite rare, surprisingly, and it is one of only 2. There are only 2 watches in the entire, or appear to be only 2 watches in the entire Lord Elgin 30 jewel line that are offered with a black dial, and this is one of the 2. And this is just a rocket. This looks fantastic. I must say this is really amazing. You can see the edge of the case has this sort of brushed metal, almost like a coin edge design, combined with a bright kind of mirror finish design on other parts of it. And then the case back has a brushed metal design. So they mixed a couple different types of stainless steel polishing techniques in this one case, which shows kind of level of sophistication of how well these were made. So we call this on AmericanElgin.com. We refer to this as the 9815.1 watch, and 9815 refers to the case number. So Star Watch case model number or case number 9815. And if you took the watch apart, if you took off this case back, you would see that that's written in there, 9815. And we add the 0.1 because this is the 0.1 dial variation. So this black dial is the 0.1 dial variation in the way that we categorize these. The next one we'll talk about is this watch that has here in the center, and we call this the 0.2 dial variation. So this has same 9815 case made by Star Watch Case Company, and it has this dial up here. So you can see it has the 12 numerals, the sort of the cream color dial. Very nice, very impressive. Now, remember, just keep an eye on the 12, 3, 6, and 9, because we're going to be looking at another watch in a moment that uses those same design numerals, but the rest of the dial is different. So this was just a very elegant version of this, very classic. These numerals are very three-dimensional. You see they're metal and they're attached to the dial. It's very attractive, very, very attractive. Of course, has the same case back as the other one made by Star Watch Case Company out of Michigan. These are very tough cases. They're, of course, the stainless steel. They're very durable. And you can see the marketing, or maybe better call it a product description back here. It's self-winding, waterproof, resistant to shock, dust, and magnetism. These are descriptions of the watch at the time it was made. Of course, this watch is 65 years old, so we are not going to dunk this thing in the water to find out whether it's still waterproof. But nonetheless, it is well made. It's a beautiful case. And this one, interestingly, does not have the coin edge design that the other one had. You remember the other one had the sort of, along the thick part, it had this, the brushed metal. Here, this actually is shiny on the side, and yet in between the lugs, it does have the brushed metal. So there are even sub-variations, and maybe someday somebody will figure out all those sub-variations of these cases and why they differed like that. That's just something interesting to note. Now, the third one we'll take a look at, and I'm a bit biased. I love this design. I don't know how practical it is with the extremely thin hour and minute hands. It may be a bit hard to read, but you see the 12, 3, 6, and 9 is same types of digits that were used on the watch we just talked about a second ago. Of course, the other hour markers at like 1, 2, 4, 5, and so on are stick hour markers instead of numbers. But again, very, very attractive design. Just super elegant. And although expensive for the time, I think people who bought this got a lot for their money, because this is just a hell of a watch. It is big. It's impressive. The case is about 33.6 millimeters in diameter, which is a good size for a men's case from this time period. Back then, some of the cases were quite small, but this was a good size. It wears well. despite being called the thin, it is really not all that thin. It's actually a pretty substantial case. And so this is held up very well. These three together, these are the three sort of iconic versions of the A model. Now, it could be that there are other ones out there. These are the only three that we're aware of from the advertising. But if you take a look at these, you'll see model variations 1, 2, and 3, and the ads for those as well. If you'd like to find out more about these watches, please check out the website americanelgin.com, or also check out the Instagram page American Elgin. Thank you.